Yeah.
Why? Because of rising costs.
Yeah.
And
Token cost.
the cost part of this technology, it's something that at least I haven't been able to find someone with a great explanation on how are we calculating the cost, which is running an AI solution. You
Yeah.
have people saying, it's the cost is based on the time that you're using, how many workflows are be running in the past. But these LLMs and these companies are charging differently. And if we are going to be moving from a budget that is managing people to a budget that is managing people plus AI cost. And the understanding for people's leaders and managers and leaders to understand the costs associated with AI when it's not clear, that adds a different set of challenges that way. And I
Yeah.
think we're going to see a lot more when
Yeah.
costs associated with AI are going to start coming back up.
Yeah. This is a difficult one for me to have a view on, because I think we are being led into a false sense of security at the moment, because it's a bit like when Netflix and Spotify came out. They gave it away for pretty much free to start with, got you hooked, and then slowly
Mhm.
start raising the prices, right? And now we're all stuffed and we're stuck with it, right? So it's really easy to say, oh, I wish I could turn it back, but you can't. Once it's gone, it's gone. Blockbuster video is gone, isn't it? So that's the way of the world. And at the moment, we know all these frontier houses are making an enormous loss, right? They're all running at a loss, and they're all competing against each other to try and get the market dominance. At some point, things will settle down and the costs will start going up. And that's when we'll be faced with the situation of the reality. What does it really cost? Not what is the cost that they're currently passing on to us, but what is the real cost? At the moment, they're measuring cost in tokens, right? If for sort of an enterprise solution, which is basically number of words. And we're being really inefficient with the way that we're using AI at the moment, actually, because no one's really worrying too much about it. Because if you've got, like, let's say you've got loads of oil, um, you've got to, you're not worried about the use of it. You'll just keep using it. If you get to the point where there's a scarcity of oil, you start being really careful about how you use that oil, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with AI. In that, at the moment, we feel that it's freely available. There's nothing that we need to worry about. Uh, so we're just using it without worrying.
Yeah.
Um, at some point that tap will switch off, and everyone will be going, "Oh God, what? We've been
It
using it really,
should.
really inefficiently."
It should. And to your point, James, it's just to bring it down to very humans using, for example, one of these LLM, ChatGPT or Claude, whatever. This is why prompt engineering it should become more and more important. The more you prompt, the more you use it, right? In the back end, the more computing being used. So instead of you taking the time to understand what you want to achieve and try to come with the best prompt that you can in one or two, maybe people are just prompting prompt. They don't care.
Yeah,
Or
because there's no
is
jeopardy.
X it or it's free or it's $20 a month, at least here in the US, unlimited prompting. You know what I mean? I think we're probably going to see some restrictions coming in the future because we cannot keep the whole world prompting, prompting, and prompting. Where are we going to end up?
Unless, of course, what we didn't talk about is the the local models. So we're talking about the big frontier models. Of course, you've got all these Chinese open weight models that are in effect free or very, very cheap. And then you got the likes of Google releasing things like Gemma 4, which was their local model. I think that's going to play a big part when people realize that, calling these APIs are going to become very, very expensive. They'll look at ways of becoming more efficient with their AI usage. And you can imagine a world where, maybe 80% of AI queries will go through their local model, and maybe
Mm,
they'll only call the more expensive models for very, very complex tasks. I think that's going to be a part of the future.
mm.
This is unsustainable. It's
It is.
unsustainable at the moment.
It is there, energy consumption, water consumption. There's a lot going on. That's why there is a race for everybody now. Countries, right? Governments, they don't want to be left behind. Companies, they don't want to be left behind. And everybody needs more computing power. And that's where these big, humongous data centers are coming into play. The future of it depends a lot on the computing power that you have to back you up. your operations.
Yeah, and data centers in space.
Or underwater, or a little bit above water, floating data centers. I was
know.
reading the other day, floating
No. Where
data
else are you
center.
gonna go? Mad, isn't it?
You know what's funny, James?